Welcome to session 18 of Living as Dying. My name is Sering, and today I'm standing in for Annie Zangmo, who unfortunately is unwell. Please join me with sending Annie Zangmo our best wishes for a swift recovery. I'll be joined today by our special guest speakers, Margaret, Hassett, and Venerable Bo Re. Ross and Kirsten are our tech support. We begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and other lands and recognise their connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Today we begin chapter 5 of Living as Dying, Aspiration Practice. During this session, can you please wait with questions and comments in the chat box until the end of the session? So the chapter on aspiration practice begins with a devotional poem by Kabir. Friend, hope for the guest while you are alive. Jump into experience while you are alive. Think and think while you are alive. What you call salvation belongs to the time before death. If you don't break your ropes while you're alive, do you think ghosts will do it after? The idea that the soul will rejoin with the ecstatic is just because the body is rotten. That is all fantasy. What is found now is found then. If you find nothing now, you'll simply end up with an apartment in the city of death. If you make love with the divine now, in the next life, you'll have a face of satisfied desire. So plunge into the truth, find out who the teacher is, believe in the great sound. Kabir says this, when the guest is being searched for, it is the intensity of the longing for the guest that does all the work. Look at me and you'll see a slave of that intensity. Traditionally, the practice of surrendering to Buddha Amitabha and saying prayers of aspiration to be reborn with him in Sukhavati is said to be one of the best long-term preparations for death. It is particularly recommended for those who are about to die. If you prefer, you can surrender to Guru Rinpoche and aspire to be reborn with him in Saldok Gallery, or to Aryatara, whose Buddha realm is the land of turquoise leaves, or to whichever Buddha and Buddha realm you like best. We'll be talking more about Guru Rinpoche and Aryatara's pure realms in next week's session. Now, Rinpoche begins with Amitabha Buddha practice from the Tibetan tradition. This last night of nights, bush clover whispers, Buddha, Buddha. This beautiful verse by Ranseki from a book of Japanese death poems by Hoffman. Out of compassion for those of us who need something tangible to cling to, visualize, aspire, and long for, Buddha gave many teachings about Amitabha Buddha. Amitabha is usually said to be red in color and to dwell in Sukhavati, but not always. Amitabha Buddha is actually none other than the ground of liberation that we talked about earlier in the book. So even as you read this book, Amitabha Buddha is with you. Just as retracing a lost cow's hoofprints eventually leads us to the cow, thinking about Amitabha and his realm will lead us to our inherent Amitabha. This is why we practice nurturing the aspiration to be reborn in Sukhavati. There are many stories about how in his previous lives as a bodhisattva, the outer symbolic Amitabha made strong aspirations to be of benefit to suffering beings. He prayed that by merely thinking of his form or reciting his name, sentient beings would instantly be reborn in Sukhavati after they die. This is why, while we're alive, Buddhists make such an effort to get used to thinking about Buddha Amitabha and reciting his mantra, and why the path of aspiration is so cherished. Sukhavati is said to lie in the westerly direction of the setting sun. Although prayers of aspiration to be reborn in Sukhavati can be recited at any time, Buddhists love to think about Buddha Amitabha and his Buddha realm as they enjoy a glorious sunset. Feel completely confident as you gaze towards the west that Sukhavati lies directly beneath the setting sun, and yearn from the bottom of your heart to join Amitabha Buddha there the moment you die. Rinpoche goes on to say, glorious descriptions of Sukhavati appear in many of the prayers of aspiration that appear in the sutras and that were compiled by the great Chinese, Japanese, and Tibetan Buddhist masters. And tankas and paintings, like the image shown here, are drawn from these descriptions. The Amitabha Sutra includes detailed descriptions of Sukhavati, on which paintings of the Pure Land school images are based. Try to picture Sukhavati in your mind's eye. Lush gardens with fresh green lawns surrounded by majestic snow mountains, turquoise lakes full of blossoming lotuses, elegant white swans, magnificent palaces, delicate parasols, richly ornamented canopies, jewel-encrusted pavilions, brilliantly colored birds, and animals of all kinds. Everything about Sukhavati has been designed to attract and enthrall you. In the midst of all this splendor stands Lord Amitabha's exquisite palace, made of lapis lazuli, the finest jade, brilliant diamonds and turquoise, all garlanded with pearls. Picture every detail in your mind's eye. Lord Amitabha resides at the center of the palace, glorious, victorious, and magnificent. Boundless rays of light stream from his body, and he exudes immeasurable, unconditional love and compassion for all beings. He is surrounded by bodhisattvas and offering gods and goddesses, all of whom exude love and compassion as they wait for you to join them. In front of Lord Amitabha is a lake full of blossoming lotus buds, through which beings are reborn every second. Fervently wish to be reborn in this realm and yearn with all your heart to see the lotuses for yourself. Now we might just pause here for a moment. I'm wondering if Ross can show the Tibetan image just on the screen. So this is a tanka of Amitabha Buddha's Pure Land from the Tibetan tradition. And Rinpoche says, to elaborate on this practice, imagine Avalokiteshvara sitting to the right of Amitabha Buddha, which you can see down on the base of the lotus where Amitabha Buddha is sitting, and Vajrapani to his left. Avalokiteshvara is always ready to protect and guide you, and Vajrapani is always ready to dispel obstacles. Rinpoche goes on to say, if you wish, you can offer prostrations to the west and make offerings by scattering flowers, wiggling incense sticks, and chanting Namo Amitabha, Amitabha Shri. or recite the following Amitabha Buddha mantras, which our guest speaker, Margaret, will now recite for us. And please feel free to join in the mantra recitations.
The name mantra. Om Amitabha Shri. 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 The heart mantra with the similar tune. Om Padme Dari Hum. Om Padma 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 Dari Hum. The Dharani mantra, it's a little bit different. We chanted it like this on retreat. And my is a little bit different, but I'll give it a go. Teyata amite amitabhawe amita sambhawe amita vigrante gamani gagana kirti kari sawa klesha tayam kari soha Tayata omate amitabhawe amita sambhawe amita virante gamani gagana kirti kari sawa klesha sayam so kari soha Teyata amite amitabhawe amita sambhawe amita virante gamani gagana kirti kari sawa klesha sayam kari so.
Thank you, Margaret. So Rinpoche goes on to say, one of the best prayers of aspiration in the Tibetan language is by Karma Jagme Rinpoche, also known as Raga Ase. An English translation of this prayer by Salje Rinpoche and Jean Hassett, entitled The Aspiration of Sukhavati, the Pure Realm of Great Bliss, can be downloaded, and Rinpoche gives the link for that. And English translations of many other wonderful prayers of aspiration are available for download from Lotsawa House. And Ross will now screen share the aspiration prayer to be born in Sukhavati that we usually chant in Siddhartha's intent practices. This prayer is also included in the once monthly Siddhartha's Intent Australia Koa Dundruk practice for the deceased that we practice as a group online, led by Sarah Wilkinson. Names of deceased friends and loved ones can be submitted to the SIA prayer list and be included in the monthly Koa Dundruk Puja. So this condensed aspiration to be born in Sukhavati was actually spoken by Buddha Amitabha in person to Tukulminga Dorji, then aged 13, when he had a vision of the deities of the mandala on the 7th day of Sakadawa in the Hembalamba year 1657. And since then, many great masters and practitioners have recited this prayer over hundreds of years, making it an extremely powerful prayer. So let's all recite this aspiration prayer together. Ema Ho, there where Amitabha, marvelous Buddha of infinite light, with Avalokiteshvara, Lord of great compassion, on his right, and Vajrapani, great powerful Bodhisattva, on his left, are surrounded by Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in measureless array, in that place of infinite wondrous bliss and joy, the blissful Buddha field of Sukhavati. May I and others, as soon as we leave this life, with not a single other birth meanwhile, be reborn there and see the very face of Amitabha. May this my prayer of aspiration, by the blessings of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in the 10 directions, without any hindrance, come true. Tayata Panchandriya Avabodhane Swaha. I would now like to warmly welcome our guest speaker, Margaret Hassett, to talk to us about aspiration practice in the Tibetan tradition. And Margaret was brought up in a very devout Catholic family and educated in a Catholic convent. After graduating in science law from Monash University, she practiced in family law, then some years later went on to study comparative religious studies at Deakin University and joined a Christian theological group where she discovered mysticism. It was during this time that she came across Buddhism, and in 1992 took refuge with the Venerable Traleg Kapgam Rinpoche, becoming one of Rinpoche's close disciples and completing a 3-year retreat under his guidance. Over to you. Thank you, Margie.
Thank you, Sering. Well, I haven't done Amitabha Buddha practice since 2002, so I enjoyed the opportunity that Ani Zangmo gave me to revisit it. And I thought today I would share with you the commentary that Khenpo Karthar Rinpoche gave us at the beginning of the retreat, so that we could understand the meaning of aspiration and how important this prayer was, this sadhana is. So I'm going to read some of the words that he gave so that you can have an interpretation yourself of what he means. He brings up a lot of questions that we as ordinary beings raise. And so I thought it would be interesting for us to have a look at that. So he starts off by saying, and these are his words, we are doing this practice for the year 2000, so we, as practitioners of the Buddha Dharma, can begin the new millennium by concentrating on developing the wish to benefit every sentient being. And then he says, well, you know, people like us, we say, well, will it really help every sentient being? And he responds this way: the power of prayer is such that through the proper practice of the prayer, and by dedicating the merit of that practice with one pointed concentration, it will definitely help free all sentient beings from tremendous hindrances and therefore bring joy and happiness. Then he says, but even after hearing this, we ordinary beings then say, well, why have we chosen the sadhana of Amitabha Buddha in particular? He then goes on to say that the teachings describe many Buddha realms that exist in many different directions, but regardless of where they are located, they can be divided into 3 general categories. The first one is the Supreme Buddha field, or the Dhammakaya Buddha field. To reach this field, one has to experience complete enlightenment. So that leaves me out. The second Buddha field, the second category, is the average Buddha field, or Sambhogakaya Buddha field. To accomplish this, the first bhumi needs to be accomplished, the first bhumi in the Bodhisattva path. That means one has to have eliminated one's afflictive emotions completely. Again, I'm out of that. Number 3 the common Buddha field or Namanikaya Buddha field. Several requirements are necessary for this to be able to go to that Buddha field, such as we have to completely overcome attachment, and one should not have broken any samaya or dharmic commitments that we entered into willingly. So what I love most about Buddhism is, you know, it caters for everyone. So just in case you can't get into those three general categories, there's Amitabha Pureland, which is for ordinary beings, even if they possess none of the conditions mentioned earlier. So then we ordinary beings, Khenpo Karthar Rinpoche says, well, you'll ask me, that realm must be an ordinary one and probably does not have the power of an actual Buddha field. He goes on to explain, Amitabha's pure realm is as powerful as any Buddha field. Merely by being born there, you, one, naturally obtain many miraculous powers of realization. Sounds good. Two, instantly you have the power to visit any Buddha field you wish, to obtain teachings from the 1,000 Buddhas that will appear in this fortunate kalpa. So if we want to, we can go to anyone and get teachings. How wonderful would that be? And finally, just in order to continue with the Mahayana approach we've all got, that we want to benefit everybody, you will have the power to emanate countless forms into countless forms to benefit all sentient beings or other beings. So it sounds pretty good, but even then we have questions, even after hearing all that. And he said the next question will be, what requirement is there to be born in Amitabha's pure realm? And these are his words. It is said that any ordinary being can experience rebirth there as long as he or she dedicates the merit of whatever practice they do with. So it's not just like a parrot, with proper motivation. That means having the true wish to benefit all sentient beings and wanting to experience rebirth in Dewa Chen. And also he said, you must have one pointed concentration. So we need to be, we need confidence and trust. That is, that we think confidently that by practicing and dedicating in this way, we will, without doubt, be born in Dewa Chen. So after hearing that, we still have questions. His next question, he says, that is always raised, well, if the practice is about gaining a better rebirth, then this practice is beneficial only when we die. Not at all, he says. If you practice Amitabha well, it also is beneficial for beings who are alive and for yourself. It is like the sun. Here, the sun is equivalent to your prayer of concentration, and darkness is equivalent to pain, suffering, and hindrance. If your prayer is confident, proper, and one-pointed, then it will definitely free yourself and other beings from hindrances. I remember watching, I'll just go to the side for a minute. I remember watching one of Dzongsa Khyentse's talks, and he was talking about mantras and how, I'm not really sure about the story, but how someone had a parrot, and this parrot had learned to say, Om Mani Dewa Hri, and, or not Ami Dewa, Om Mani Padme Hum. And he said, you know, it's not to recite mantras like a parrot, which woke me up a bit, because I think I definitely fall into the parrot reciting person. So here we have to have confidence, proper and one-pointed concentration, then we will definitely free ourselves and other beings from hindrances. The teachings say, according to Khenpo Karthar Rinpoche, the teachings say that beings experience happiness and suffering based on their accumulation of merit or their accumulation of negative karma. So virtuous actions equal the accumulation of merit, and the fruit of that is happiness. Non-virtuous actions lead to the accumulation of negative karma, and the fruit of that is suffering. Prayer and accumulation always go together. When you accumulate merit properly, the condition of your mind is so proper, so well settled, that you always think of the well-being of others. This wish for the well-being is, in fact, a prayer or an aspiration which is connected to your accumulation of merit. As a result, you are able to benefit beings, and by engaging in positive actions, you accumulate even more positive merit. Again, but if you wish negative things on the world, the merit is still there that we've accumulated, but the prayer is a negative prayer, thereby giving you the ability to create negative things in the world. So your prayer or aspiration is very important. Now, this can be confusing for some people who wonder how prayer, accumulation, and karma actually function in this world. And for example, why so many rulers of the past and present had or have the power to create so much suffering and destruction in this world. He says, the power of and destructiveness shows the power of their individual prayer. Why are they so powerful? Because of the merit they have accumulated. Without merit, they would not have been able to have that kind of power. But while they have the merit, their prayer was negative. Hence, that is why we must be cautious as Buddhists. Always add to any accumulation of merit the wholesome prayer for the well-being of ourselves and for all sentient beings. How he then says this, he talks about group karma, and he says, how is it that groups of beings experience the results of karma they have accumulated collectively? He responds, it is true that whatever karma you cultivate, it is something you individually have accumulated, good or bad, positive or negative. But whenever you are accumulating merit, you accumulate it with a particular wish in mind. That wish or aspiration or prayer, whatever you want to call it, becomes the most important factor in how that merit comes to fruition, whether your merit will give happiness to others or bring them suffering. And the example he used is if we're all sitting in the gompa and someone brings in a beautiful vial of scented perfume, we all experience the beautiful smell and get the joy from that. But he also then said, well, if we bring in a dead skunk that has a very unpleasant smell, we also experience that, and we'll probably get up and run out of the gompa. So this is his first talk on Amitabha. I don't think I understood any of it when I first started 30 years ago, but it's a very powerful summary of the need to have the right attitude at all times, which is your aspiration. I remember when I first started in Buddhism, I read Milarepa, who is one of the Kagyu saints, and he did all these practices and developed all these cities. He then used those cities to destroy people in his village who had been unkind to his family and their crops. And I remember thinking, well, this is really risky. You know, how does compassion develop? And of course, by looking at what he's said here, if you have the right aspiration, we constantly, as Mahayana practitioners, always think of the benefit of other people. That's our mantra, you know. We do everything for the benefit of ourselves and of every sentient being. So then it becomes part of your everyday action. And I think he said that very clearly here, where he said that our aspiration and prayer is so powerful, because you can see the damage that politicians and leaders of countries can do if they have a negative prayer. So I'm not sure if I've gone over time, Sering, but I think also, I'll just say one other thing. In my practice of law, when I first started, it was all about looking after the client. I worked in a beautiful female firm, and we all used to get together and talk about our cases to see what is the best way we can look after our clients. Then came the 80s, where greed is good. And suddenly a timesheet was put in front of us, and we had to charge for every 6 minutes that we spoke to the client or worked on the client's behalf. So our whole aim or aspiration was to make money. If we were to get paid, we had to make sure we earned 3 times our salary, 1/3 for the partners, 1/3 to cover costs, and 1/3 for us. So the focus changed. It changed into a money-making business because you had to do that to keep your job. You also had to work 7 billable hours, which meant you worked 10 hours. I don't know if any of that makes sense, but to me, you know, if you've got the right attitude, the results are positive for people around you. So I think I've gone over time. Sering, is that right? And I thank you.
That's okay, Margaret. But yes, there's a very strong message there, and
it's so powerful. And
yes.
I am so grateful to have come across Buddhism, because it caters for all of us. You know, in every aspect. When you think you can't do it, there's one little bit for you. And I think that's wonderful. But with a right aspiration, you can only be of benefit to others because you'll have the right attitude. I'm going to shut up now.
That's so true. Thank you, Maggie. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I'm going.
So we'll just briefly return to the book, because we have Venerable Bo Re waiting to talk to us about Amitabha Buddha in Pureland Buddhism. But I'll just cover there's one more section here where Rinpoche talks a story about the old carpenter, which is very much what Margie's just been talking about. The power of the practice of aspiration is often illustrated by a traditional story about an old carpenter. There was once an old carpenter who was very attached to worldly life and to making money. Even on his deathbed, he was worrying about finding his next job and calculating the money he needed to earn from it. To his loving daughter, it was obvious that the old man was about to die, and equally obvious that he was completely unprepared for what was to come. So she told the dying man that a rich lord from a faraway land wanted to commission a building. Father, you have been summoned to Sukhavati to build a palace for Lord Amitabha. The old man's first reaction was annoyance. What a nuisance that he felt so ill. It would make travelling even more difficult than usual. Nevertheless, as he lay in bed, the old carpenter started planning Lord Amitabha's palace. He died just as he was listing all the tools he would need and was immediately reborn in Sukhavati. Extremely fortunate beings who have a great deal of merit are blessed with the invaluable capacity of belief. If you are such a person, the only thing you need to do is yearn to be reborn with Buddha Amitabha in Sukhavati. If you start generating that longing now, by the time death finds you, your longing will have become so strong that it will fill your mind, leaving no room for fear, panic, anguish, or anything else. A bit like the surge of testosterone and adrenaline a football fan feels as he walks onto the terraces for a Champions League final. If you truly believe there is nothing else to do, The moment you die, you will immediately be reborn in Sukhavati. And Rinpoche goes on to say, what does this yearning and longing feel like? Imagine you are deeply in love, but your lover lives on the other side of town. You miss him so much that you climb onto your roof just to gaze in the direction of his house. And as you gaze, you long to be with him. This is the kind of yearning and longing you should develop for Amitabha, and it is an excellent way of preparing for death. So now we come to Amitabha Buddha in Pure Land Buddhism. And Pure Land Buddhism, sometimes referred to as Amitism, is currently one of the most popular schools of Buddhism in East Asia. It is a form of devotional Buddhism that focuses on Amitabha Buddha. Elements of Pure Land Buddhism can be found in several schools of Buddhism in China and Japan. Pure Land Buddhism teaches that you can be reborn in the Pure Land, a perfect heavenly abode in which enlightenment is guaranteed, solely through devotion to Amitabha Buddha. The practice of reciting the mantra and sutra of Amitabha is extremely popular in East Asia. And now, what we've all been waiting for with great respect is my honor to welcome Venerable Bo Re to share with us the practice of Amitabha Buddha in the Pure Land School of Buddhism. And I'd just like to tell you a little about Venerable Bo Re's amazing story. He was born in Anhui, China, and ordained at the age of 14, and has since then studied under renowned Buddhist masters in China and Taiwan. Since arriving in Australia in 1994, Venerable has dedicated himself to serving communities with his skills and wisdom acquired through his years of Buddhist training and practices. In addition to undertaking the role of abbots of Huazhang Monastery and Lin Yen Buddhist Institute, he took on appointments as Buddhist Counsellor of the Sydney Olympics, the Religious Counsellor of Concord Hospital, Buddhist teacher at the University of New South Wales, Sydney University and Macquarie University, police chaplain at the Parramatta Police Headquarters, religious counsellor at the Australian Refugee Detention Centre, president of the Australia-China Buddhist Council, and many of these appointments were first of their kinds. Venerable regularly leads a team of monastics in performing prayer sessions to support the dying and their families at Concord Hospital, Bankstown Hospital, Royal Prince of Wales Hospital, and St George Hospital, all in Sydney. At the age of 35, Venerable founded Prajna Monastery. In 2015, the monastery acquired 130 acres of land in Razorback near Picton in New South Wales. His vision is to build the largest Buddhist temple in the Southern Hemisphere there, which will include much needed aged care and palliative care facilities and a sanctuary for abandoned animals. And we thank you so much, Venerable, for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us. And I now hand over to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sari. And thank you. Our most venerable is I think Zangmo invite me and join and come and share some of the experience for everyone. And just now the sharing is the Chanda Rita Sutra. And second one with today's the topic is living in the dying. I thought that the story is the thinking about when I 1994 came to Australia, and every day we after breakfast is walking around on the street. In the morning, a lot of people is walking on the street. One day, the gentleman they said, "Good day, mate." Because at the time when I come here, my English just broken. It's saying like today. I asked my master, I said, Master, why I'm going out? The people told me it's good die. Good die in Chinese, good. It's good die is pass away. Why is the morning is wish me the good die in mind? I asked my master, the master, you're naughty boy. You don't understand the Australian culture. There's Australian culture. Everyone's a good day in mind. There's a culture. Okay, that's George talking. And now we're coming back. Everyone is thinking about your future. Are you planning where to go? Are you ready? Practice to peace to pass away, reborn to the good place. Some people is already, but some people they not care, just enjoy at the day. But in the Buddhist teaching, the life is not impermanent. We don't know after a moment. Now I'm talking with you guys. Maybe after an hour, I go sleep to reborn. Wish it's good to reborn, good to pass away. Like me, sometimes to the hospital. In a palliative care, some people is good to pass away, very peaceful. But some people so scared because they don't know. They just know near the pass away. They know the body is a live with him. In the life, anything is gone. They're so scared. They're so attachment to the body. So this is why when the people that they know the pathway, the breath, the deep breath is very hard for breath. They're so scared. The eyes is bigger, the mouth is bigger, the hand is like this. They don't like to pass away because they don't know where to go. So this is why we thank you, Zangmo, and when you organize this topic, I think it's good for everyone. Everyone, you know how's your future. Just only one way, death. Just only one way. Not everyone you can say long life, just a wish. Just for long life. Everyone can get in a long life? Yeah, 100 years. Lucky, 100 years. If not lucky, 50, 60, 70, 60, or some getting cancer, that's so selfish. So that's why, you know, Buddhists will practice for every day. In the Tibetan, we chant the mantra. In the Theravada, there's Zen meditations, mindfulness. Mahayana Chinese, of course, is the Zen. The Zen is a bigger part, the practice in the Chinese Buddhism. Zen and Pureland is the same, including the Japanese, Korea, and some Asia country. So Pureland, that is talking about ourselves. If you have your own good energy, you can bring your karma to reborn everywhere. If you're not good energy, which way you to go? Because in your life or last life, you build a lot of bad behavior and bad karma. In this life, if you're not good practice, not ready to go, how do you go for when you pass away? Sometimes in a hospital, we can see the people. It's a relax or peace or to good place. Good place, we're talking about some heaven, different levels, and the Pure Land or East Pure Land or West Pure Land. but it's not East country or West country. It's Amitabha's Pure Land or Medicine Buddha's Pure Land. So this why in the Chinese Mahayana, we chant the Amitabha Sutra. We chant the Amitabha's name for every day. Like in the monastery, every day, the evening, there's chant the Amitabha. That's Amitabha's name, Amitabha Sutra, Amitabha mantra. So, and otherwise, like we bring the bees. This bees is not just a way for the look good, for looking. These bees just remind to us, remind our every day, every moment, you must be effort, chant, connect with the Amitabha. In the one Chinese the sutra said, if you're every day thinking the Amitabha, chant the Amitabha, listening the Amitabha, when you pass away, you just imagine. The image is to talk with the Buddha and bring to you to the Pure Land. The Amitabha, he have the 48 vows. All the vows is talking all the sentient beings one day, or when you, if remember for me or chant for me, when you need for help or pass away, he with other Bodhisattva come in, bring with you, take your karma to reborn to the Pure Land. So that's why in the everyday, we not care about the walking, sleeping, or sitting anytime. We just chant the Amitabhas. Why we go to the Amitabha Sutra, to the Pure Land? Can you take the image for everyone for looking about the Pure Land, Amitabha's the image? Okay. This one is a little bit traditional from Chinese. We look at the roof, but in the Pure Land. But this picture is talking about the Pure Land. Amitabha is in the middle. Between two sides, two Bodhisattva, including Guan Yin. And still in the other sides are lots of Arahants, Bodhisattvas, and all the sentient beings. That's reborn the Pure Land. Reborn, you can two ways. First one, just you make your karma. Good karma, connect with the Amitabha, reborn to the Pure Land. Second one, because some people, they have some black karma. So in this moment, they need the people to help. Like a sutra, there's Amitabha, he can help with us bring our back karma to reborn to the Pure Land. Because in the Pure Land, it's not like this world. You know? In this time, we're not talking about politics, war, violence. But in the Pure Land, nothing. Pure Land is all that is nice, peaceful area. It's all the teachers, good people live in area. If you like make a bad karma, you can make, because the Pure Land is so pure. That's all people, this is saying is your teachers. If you not good behavior, some people or some teacher can remind to you. That's why we like that when we pass away, reborn to the Pure Land, not coming back this life on this world. Because in this world is not pure. Like every day, a lot of people is suffering. Because we are human beings. If you are human beings, of course you have a lot of sufferings. Well, how to clean these sufferings? first one, clean our mind. So that's why when we chant the Amitabha, the sounds, our ear is listening. And our mind is connect, flowing our chant. Now I can chant a little bit. The sounds everyone can even, everyone can take a seat and just relax. And I chant the Amitabha stand for the Chinese session. Sometimes we use this one for the people pass away, because sometimes they can't relax. We just chant this one for him or her and to take peaceful with Amitabha to reborn. Okay, I chant now. Namo Amitabha. 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 Okay. And just now I just chant the Amitabhas in the Mandarin. How is everyone's feeling? Yeah, this one is normal, or is a practice for the chanting in palliative care for the people. And sometimes the families is a bit upset, or some people is crying. So we most want to the people, we feel very upset or crying, going out, we not can give for the feel for the people pass someone pass away, feel someone is a attachment for him. So we just only with that to the families is with the monks and the chant to the people and fast and to pass away. We have a lot of experience when the people pass away, and when the last breath is the mouth is very big. When we chant 8 hours, after 8 hours, the mouth is closed, the eyes is closed, the face is like love.
On the screen
It's
again.
very very relaxed to pass away. That's why it's a saying in the Mahayana is tell our people, tell our flower, the Buddhists, when you pass away, we're not attachment. We just bring our own karma with the Buddha and Bodhisattva reborn to the Pure Land. Okay, this time little bit over. So just thank you very much. Thank you, Sharing. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Venerable. The chanting was so peaceful, very, very peaceful.
That's good.
Thank you. The people who are there in the hospitals where you go, they're very, very fortunate.
Yeah, that's why it's this school in Australia, a lot of hospital that can give if they know the patient is a Buddhist, that just give the silent song and give the monk, invite the monks and come in for chanting for 8 hours. That a lot of hospital know about the Buddhist traditions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And Winnie was telling me something very beautiful, that within the Pure Land tradition, when you greet each other, you call each other Amitabha. Could you explain that? When you say hello, instead of saying good day, mate, you say hello, Venerable Amitabha.
Yeah, in the Chinese tradition, all the Buddhists, the master teaching the lay people, when you see the monk or see the friends, the Buddhist friends, always bow a hand, just chant the Amitabha. So that's why for the daily life, make your behavior. So this mean, everyone, when you chant the Amitabha, that's wish to you to remember about that. First one can remember. Second one is good behavior in your daily life. Chant the Amitabha's name. Yeah.
Oh, that's such a beautiful custom.
Yeah. I think that's good behavior for the Buddhist for daily life. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Sure.
Okay, so we'll continue with the book, and next Rinpoche talks about in Japan, Amitabha Buddha is known as Amida Butsu and Amida Nare, the Tathagata Amitabha, and is the main deity of the Japanese Pure Land School of Buddhism, Jodo Shu, and the true Pure Land School of Buddhism, Jodo Shinshu. There's another beautiful poem by Kurai from the Japanese death poems, together with an image of the Pure Land of the Buddha Amida on page 64 of the book. And it says, "Why should I hesitate? I have a travel permit from Amida Buddha." So Amida Butsu is said to come to you as you're about to die, to lead you personally to the Pure Land, which we show in the beautiful image here. And his exceptional power stems from the great vow he made to continue liberating all sentient beings until the hells are completely empty. By thinking of Amida Butsu at the moment of death, even the most negative, selfish, greedy, violent person can be reborn in his Pure Land. I now invite our Sangha sister, Kiko, who's joining us from Japan, to recite for us the mantras of Amida Butsu and the mantra of Amida Norai. And the mantra of Amida Norai is also sometimes recited in Sanskrit, Om Amrita Teje Hara Hong. So Thank you, Akiko.
Okay, first, the mantra of Amidabutsu. It seems that when this mantra is recited in Japan, often the last syllable tsu is dropped, but today I follow the text and recite with the tsu. Nam Amida Butsu, 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 Nam Amida Butsu. Next, the mantra of Amida Nyorai. Om Amrita Te Se Karaun, 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 Om Amrita Te Se Karaun.
Well, thank you so much, Akiko, for joining us. And now we're just about out of time, but if you have any questions, please unmute or write your questions in the chat box. Do we have any questions? We did put a link to the English translation of the Amitabha Sutra in the chat box for those who would like to read that. And that is the sutra where all the descriptions of the beautiful Pure Land come from, and where the paintings originate from those descriptions. Russ, would you like to read if there's anything there in the chat box?
I'd like to say something. I haven't put it in the chat box, but it's just so wonderful to hear all of the different mantras, and I've not had very much exposure to Pure Land Buddhism. So thank you so much, Venerable. That was really, really fantastic. And I'm curious as to whether when you're at the hospital with people who are scared, do you notice a difference when you're doing the mantra as a group? Does that help them settle? Does it help the family settle? What's your observation?
Yeah, like first one, we just when we just know a little bit about the background from the families, and we check in the families first, and second one, we just give the chanting. We just tell the families, we chant the Amitabha's name, and tell the families, because the body is not working, the body is complain, like fighting with the people can fix, so must be reborn to the second place. How to wish she or him to the good place? Only good karma, make karma. If like a Chinese people say, oh, you crying, or some say, oh, how can love to you? Yeah, this one is good, but in the Buddhist, that can make that attachment. In this moment, we just tell the families, tell the parents. If the parent tell the parents, don't care about us, you just go with the Buddha or Bodhisattva to good place. If we have the good karma, we can connect for the next life. Like today now.
Yes.
You look me happy, I look you happy. Look at sometimes look outside people, you look me anger, I look you anger. What is the mean? We're just talking about karma. Because if you good wish, today is your mom, maybe after some years, it's seeing your mom too. But it's not mom, it's not your mom the match, you know, the body,
Yeah.
but the mind, the look after to you is same like a monk, you know. Sometimes like just now who said, I saw you the dog. The dog is same like a family member, but this time the body, the action is different. But the now you're talking like the Zangmo is cat in there or dog or cat. Yeah, that's good karma, you know, but the body is changed. But the now this mind is connect for the last life.
Yeah.
Our body, like our people, we don't talking about the skin, you know, but inside the blood is same. Our Buddhist image,
Yes.
our karma is the same. Like in our farm, before I never touch about the horse and the cow, but now I live in a farm very close with them. If I call the name, they not so me can understand my sound, you know. So that's why we just tell the families make a good wish, and with monks for chanting, tell the parents to don't care about the families, just relax with the Buddha, wish to the Pure Land. So that's more. I think that chanting is the second one. The Dharma talk is the first. Dharma talk first, tell the patient, still give a Dharma talk, because someone that's so scared. You give a Dharma talk, oh, who am I? Why I'm here? I chant, wait for you. Don't touch this body, just relax, just reborn. It's the same Dharma talk, talking about the family member and the patient too. I think this part is very important. So that's why in the Buddhist said, you must be given 8 hours. The body is slowly is gone. But in the Western, just a plant, when the plant is not working, doesn't mean pass away. But Buddhists said no. The plant is not working, your heart is not working, but still not pass away. You still some working, it's still working. So that's why after 8 hours, your whole body is gone too. Yeah, that's why Dharma talk and the chanting 2 ways is very important in that when the people pass away.
Bring it closer.
Thank you, Venerable. I know there's other questions, so I'll let Ross read them. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
There's a comment about, or a request that the images might be uploaded. So we're going to upload the images to the Australian Living is Dying resources. Amelia says, nice, thanks. Nancy says, I love Margaret's humour. And Julie Kidd says, thank you very much to Venerable and to Margaret. Yijang, thank you very much. Another thank you from Joseph. Anna says, I don't know much about Amitabha. Is it easy to develop understanding and devotion?
Maybe Venerable, would you like to answer that? This person is asking, is it easy to develop understanding and devotion to Buddha Amitabha? Is it easy?
This one is very easy. It's a because in the Buddhist, it's a lot of way for practice, you know. Theravada, Mahayana, Vajrayana. The object is different, right? But some people, you must be which one you like the Western noodles, Eastern rice. Which one is better? Rice is good for body or noodle is good for body, you know? But it doesn't matter if you think like that. Okay, you practice the Amitabha when you chant and see the picture. Your beauty is so peaceful. Your mind so relaxed. If someone said, I don't like to chant the Amitabha, I don't like to go to the Pure Land, I like just enjoying this moment for meditation. Why not? Why not? I think that if the chant the Amitabha, the most one is good, sound like a meditation. Sound like a meditation. When you chant the Amitabha's name, and and your ear can hearing, your mind, just a concentration for mindfulness. Is a connect for that, like the picture, like the sharing behind the Buddha's pictures. Yeah, is someone that some people are unhappy. Our teacher told us, one day when you're unhappy, don't fighting with the people. Go away to see the Buddha's picture, Buddha's face. The Buddha's face always is lovely for you. Yeah. So yeah, Pure Land is easy, but different people do think. But for me, of course, if you like chant Amitabha's name, why not? Good. Is all right? Or?
Yes, thank you.
Okay,
yes.
Alan, we have another thank you so much from Sharma. She asks, does Venerable Bo Re need help with his mission activities?
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
Yeah.
And so Sharma, she asks.
Yeah, we might be able to. There's someone here, Venerable, who's asking if you need help with the mission activities. I think in time you will be releasing more details about your development of your amazing project that you have in mind. That will come in future. Yeah.
Of course, welcome everyone coming Southern Highland.
Great.
Yeah.
So we'll pass on your details to that person.
Sure, no problem.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And a question, what does Nyore and say mean? Thank you.
Oh, is this a question in, are you still there, Akiko? I think this is a question, it seems like Japanese.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nyorai, my understanding, yes, my understanding is that the Nyorai is same as Buddha, somebody who reached the full realization, the Satori. But I'm not sure about the meaning of Teisei. I don't think it's good to give an answer here straight from the Google search. I'll leave it there. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you, Akiko.
And Julie says, thank you to the whole team. And Lizzie Woon.
Yeah, thank you to the team.
Thank you to the team and to everyone. Xu Hing or Winnie says, Dear Venerable, what's so special about Sukhavati Pure Land compared to other Buddha's Pure Lands? Is it true that once we make it to Sukhavati, we will never be reborn in any of the 6 realms?
So it might be good, Winnie, if you unmute and ask that question to Venerable.
I can't hear it. Yeah, Winnie.
Can you unmute, Winnie? Can Winnie?
Yeah, I have. Sorry. Venerable, my understanding is that one of the reasons why Pure Land is so attractive is once we get to Pure Land and be reborn, sort of inside the lotus, we'll never be reborn in any of the 6 realms.
Yes, that's true.
So it's kind of like an insurance policy.
Of course, because you maybe they make a good action, make a lot of good karmas.
Yeah, so we just kind of like can go to Sukhavati with all our bad karma.
So yeah, so that's why how can we travel to overseas? First one, when you have the money. No money to come buy the air ticket to fly to the Singapore to Asia country, right? So to the Pure Land is the same. You make a good karma. The karma, that's your money. You know, the good karma can support to you to Pure Land. Yeah. So when you're reborn to the Pure Land, because to Pure Land is all good teacher, good mind living together. Make a good karma. So you can always to reborn a different place, you know.
And
Thank you.
Venerable, we have another question for you.
Okay.
How can we request more time to chant in the ward, in the hospital? It seems they normally don't allow for 8 hours stay in the ward.
Okay. If in a palliative care, all the hospital, the rules, the respect for the different religions. That's the first one. If like the emergency or some the public hospital and 2 or 3 people living together, we can use the machine. We have the small machine that can chant the Amitabha stand. Most one is when the people that near the past, if some people, okay, it's the end of the life, or specialists of daughter say, oh, maybe you need to change it to the palliative care or retirement to the aged care or somewhere. Still, some people that don't like to go to the aged care. They still like the end of the life, pass away in the hospital. We can discuss with the nurse, senior nurse, and the senior nurse they have the special room. So give the some time for the special people to the pass away. So the hospital is respect in all Australia, the respect for all the religions. Like me, I working in the Congo hospital is more than 15 years. RPA, all the hospitals that have the special room for the people end of the life, give the different favor for coming for pray or chantings. So I think if the family in a hospital, they know all the rules for the religions.
I just need to interrupt briefly. Margaret actually has to leave because she has another engagement. So I just want to thank you, Margaret, and also really appreciate that we got to hear Khenpo Kata Rinpoche's words that you received on retreat. So yeah, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you, Margaret.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Margaret.
Thank you, Margaret.
Amitabha.
Amitabha.
Thank you, Margaret.
Very good. Very
Yeah.
good.
There are many more questions. I'm not quite sure what to do. Are you okay to stay for a little while, Venerable?
Yeah, okay, no problem.
Okay, so here's someone who says, Angela, I've heard it's best to awaken enlightenment in a human body, but when we go to Pure Land, we don't have human body anymore. So I'm confused to pray for rebirth as human or in Pure Land. Can Venerable please explain which is best and how this happens? Do we pray for human or Pure Land?
Okay. Can I ask who is asked these questions?
Angela.
Okay, Angela. Okay. Angela is a living senior. Okay, I give that sample. Like me.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Okay, you're right. Okay, like me, I now is living in Australia. My parent is in China, all right? In this COVID, I can't go into China. because no fly. Okay. Sometimes I can contact by phone. If not phone, how can I do? How do you think of your parents? That's an image. Like my hometown. I know my hometown, but my body is not there. Body is in Australia, but in my mind, it's flying in my hometown. To the Pure Land is the same. When we reborn to the Pure Land, it's not body. It's not bring the body to the Pure Land. It's our mind. Our mind. Because the mind is thinking, is with the Buddha's vow to reborn. Okay. Second one, that gives a sample. When we're listening to music, peaceful music, our mind and body very relaxed. If some music make you crying, how is your mood? You're upset. Why are you upset? Because your mind is connected to music. So when we reborn to the Pure Land, just our mind being there. Our mind is clear, bring the good karma, good energy, support to the reborn to the Pure Lands. That can understand it or?
Yes, I think that's very clear. Thank you, Venerable. Yeah. So there's another question for you.
Oh.
Hello, thank you. So this question is from Ilaria. Hello, thank you for this precious teachings. My question is, will it be wrong to recite the Amitabha or medicine Buddha for someone who is in a non-Buddhist? I did the medicine Buddha sadhana for a friend after they passed away with his body still in the room. So what do you think, Venerable? Is this okay? My motivation was my strong belief that it would help him.
Yeah, the strong belief, that's very important. So the strong view, the belief, that means your support, which way you to go. If you very strong belief the medicine Buddha in the East Pure Land, of course, when after reborn to the East medicine Buddha's Pure Land. If in your life, before you practice the Amitabha's Pure Land, wisdom Pure Land, but when you end of the life, in the last moment in your mind, you're not thinking about the Amitabha. You're just thinking about the Eastern medicine Buddha. But in the last moment in your mind, you to the Eastern medicine Buddha. When you're reborn there, in the sutra said, if one day you're reborn to the Eastern Pure Land, you feel that, oh, maybe I'm going to the transfer to the Pure Land, Amitabha's Pure Land. In the sutra that said, medicine sutra said, if you like to the Pure Land, in the East medicine Buddha, and with other 8 Bodhisattvas, wait for you, send to you to the Pure Land, Amitabha's Pure Land. That's in the sutra set. So this why in the end of the life, like our monks, we chant so many Buddha's name. Which way you like to go? That's your strong belief, strong mind. That's from the end of the life. That's very important in the last moment.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
And thank you, Venerable. And there are many expressions of thank you here. And there are a couple more questions. there was one from Kamala, Hope Campbell, and I will answer that probably in the next session next week, if that's okay. And there's from Yuriki to Venerable, what is the best thing I can do for people who already passed away, maybe 1 or 2 years ago?
Okay, I think before she told me if the next session we can talk a little bit about when the people pass away. In the Chinese Mahayana tradition, so when the people pass away after 49 days, we give the chanting.
Yes.
That's the same like today your questions is because the people is passed away 2 years.
Yes.
So I think this one for the next time, so maybe give this answer is better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Yes, we would very much like to invite you again and continue with these discussions.
My pleasure.
For now, I'd like to say a heartfelt thank you to all our guest speakers, and we're so fortunate to have this opportunity, especially to learn from other schools of Buddhism, and it's deeply appreciated. And now we'll dedicate the merit with the prayer that we do at the end of the session. This virtuous accumulation of merit we offer so that all obstacles dissolve, and that at the time of our death, each of us may find ease in dying and swift rebirth in the pure land of great bliss, quickly gaining enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. And next week, we'll be continuing with Chapter 5 on Aspiration Practice. And we look forward to seeing you then. And thank you again. And sorry, we've gone over time quite a bit today, but we have this very special opportunity to have Margaret and Venerable with us, and Akiko from Japan. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Venerable.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, honey.
Thank you, everyone. Good night. Everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Amitabha.
Bye-bye.
There was one question, Venerable.
Okay, pleasure.
During this one question, I put it quite at the end. There's no way I could get it, I suppose.
I've taken a photo of it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, let me look. Maybe I have.
Good.
Namo Amitabha.
Yes, Namo Amitabha.
Namo Amitabha.
No, you know.
Amitabha.